My name is Patrick Phillips. I'm the founder of American Business Systems. And I do these webinars because I love talking to people like Meg, who's going to be our guest today, because this is a chance for you as people who are looking into getting into this business. This is a chance for you to hear from somebody who actually did. They made the decision. They've gone through the training. They've graduated. They've gotten clients. They are making some money. We don't ask them exactly how much they made now because we don't know if you're with the IRS or not. So we just kind of keep it real on the down low as far as the income is concerned. But I'm sure that Meg will give you some indication as to whether this has been a good investment for her and her business partner. Okay, well, I'm going to just tell you who I am because some people have not been on these webinars before. Our business company name, of course, is American Business Systems. And yes, it was back in 1994 when we actually started doing some announcing of what we were doing. Me and my wife were doing medical billing for doctors out of our home here in the Fort Worth area. We decided that there were enough people asking us how we did it and how we got started that I thought, you know what, I bet there's a market for a training package company, kind of like a franchise. So we put that together and we've been licensing people from coast to coast ever since then. So if you're interested in getting your own business started, hang in there, listen very carefully to what Meg has to say today, and ask her some questions because, hey, yeah, I can tell you anything, right? If I wanted to sell you on getting into our business, I'd really be doing a big sales pitch on all these webinars. But those of you who've been on the webinars know that we don't do that. We try to pull back from that sales gizmo, and we just try to give you as much information as possible for you to make the right decision. Folks, we have a cloud-based system that's literally in the cloud, which means you can run this from any computer that has an internet connection. You don't have any software that's stored on your computer, so you literally could go down to Best Buy today and buy a brand new laptop, take it to a McDonald's or anywhere else that has free Wi-Fi, and hook up to our system with the right credentials and log in, of course, and boom, you'd be there. You'd be looking at what you see right here, either on a tablet. It doesn't matter what platform. It could be Windows or Apple. It could be iPads, tablets, even your phone. You can see our system right there. It was designed and perfectly matches the size of these different things. So whether it's a desktop computer or laptop, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And so by using cloud-based software, it allows you to do that billing for doctors from anywhere in the world. Now, we also have about 8 other services that you can offer to doctors. These are constantly being developed behind the scenes. They're added to our package, and no, there is no additional cost to you as one of our franchisees, or we call them licensees, because it's kind of like a franchise, but we don't have territories, so there's no territories. You're not limited. You can bill for any doctor anywhere in the United States, and of course, there's no royalties. There's no monthly royalties. So once you pay our initial licensing fee, which is $28,000. You never pay us another penny. We make all of our money on the back end from the services that you are offering to the doctors, and the doctors are paying for that. So anyway, we can get into the details of that, but today's webinar is really just to kind of give you an overview. If you want to check out who I am, you can go to Amazon and find out. I've got 3 books out there on Amazon, and one of these in the middle there is used as a marketing tool for you. If you get into our business, you'll be actually using that new thriving medical practice that I wrote with Dr. Vicki Ratner as a marketing tool. I'm also on the advisory board, editorial board of the Billing and Coding Advantage magazine. Yes, it's a print magazine that still comes in the mail, over 40,000 subscribers, and I have articles in that on a regular basis as well. So with that said, I think there's all the slides there that I need to show you. There you can see that we can run this on computers, laptops, phones, iPads, or whatever. It's really a cool system, as you'll see. And these ancillary services, by the way, are all just other services that you can offer to doctors that helps with their cash flow, with their revenue. So once you've graduated from our training, you get a certificate that actually says you are a certified medical revenue manager, and that gives you the ability to go out and do this billing. Folks, we've taught people from coast to coast all over the United States. Now, Meg's on here with us today. She's from the East Coast, but we have people literally from coast to coast that have gone through our training, have built very successful businesses. Some of them are even some of our instructors now and coaches that we use to help you get your first client. and get your business up and running. So with that said, let's see if our guest is still back there lingering behind the scenes. Meg, are you still with us?
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, there she comes. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
You're just outside of Washington, D.C., right?
Correct.
In Virginia.
Yeah, Northern Virginia.
Yeah. And as you can see, folks, she's got her coffee cup there. She's a work at home. She just has her own business running right there out of her home. You've thought about getting an office at one point, didn't you say, Meg?
Yeah, we did. And we thought about probably when we started this business, we thought this would be the time when we started to have like a brick and mortar. But when COVID hit, we had to build everything out so that everybody could work from home. And it's been successful. So I don't know that we would ever really go back to a brick and mortar situation since we can do it all from home.
Sure. Why? Why would you do that? That's the way I look at it. I think this COVID thing has made a lot of people re-examine how they run their business. This one just happens to be ideal because it's all over the internet anyway. And do you have any clients now outside of your area, like out in another state?
We don't have anybody outside of the state, but we do have staff that's out of state, which is kind of nice because we live in Northern Virginia, so it's one of the higher income areas. So if we can hire staff outside of state and pay them less, but still get the same work from them, it does help us with our profit margins.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the
Yeah.
great thing is you really can run this thing. You can take your Surface Pro that you're on right now, you told me, you could take that to Hawaii and work from the beach if you had an internet connection out there.
Sure. I mean, so I'm Canadian, and one of the nice things that I thought about with this business was that I can go up and visit family for a month or two at a time and still be able to run my business, and my clients don't know that I'm out of the country. So that's been
Yeah.
one of the advantages living like a 9 or 10 hour drive away from them. If I can go up and see them for an extended period of time, that gives me a little bit better peace of mind and a nicer quality of life.
Sure. I think it's the future, don't you? I think this whole COVID thing has made everybody re-examine what do I want to do for a living. Some people who are working at an office now they're working from home. They kind of got a feel for it now, you know. So I think we have a lot of people looking in our business because they're
Yeah,
thinking, "Gosh, this seems like the perfect business to run from your home." Uh,
correct.
we help people with their first marketing to try to get their first client. We do whatever it takes to help them get going, but then after that, you don't really have to see anybody. I've got licensees all over the country who have clients in different states, but they've never met them.
Yeah, so when COVID hit, we took on a client like probably within the first 2 months of when COVID hit. And I was a little bit apprehensive because all of our clients before that, I had been in person with them, making sure that they're trained well, like in person, bringing them snacks for every training session. There's a value to be able to walk in and say, okay, I need this done. Can I see the doctor and get this done right away? So when we onboarded this office with COVID, I was quickly thrown into Zoom sessions, into this kind of interaction, and the onboarding was actually more effective than I thought it was going to be. And I did get used to doing a lot of virtual sessions with them. And so from that point, it did change my perspective as to what it really took to be able to onboard an office, and it gave me more confidence to be able to say, you know what, we have a client over in Arizona, we can still do our onboarding with them and not worry about actually having to get on the plane and talking to them every other week during that first 6 to 8 week onboarding time.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the tools, we got the technology to be able to do anything literally from our home because you can see the screen just like we're sharing slides here. You could be sharing a screen of the actual software system that you're showing and teaching people how to use. Yeah,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
it's just
And
ideal.
it is, it's great. And you can continue with a lot of client touches. I mean, there's a lot of systems that are set up now that you can send lunch, you can send snacks, you can send flowers, whatever you need to send to the offices just to show your appreciation with them virtually. So you don't have to keep on walking in that door. And until COVID is done, that mitigates your risk and your staff's risk to running into anything, any level of COVID while you're actually marketing or working with the office.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're talking about one of the ancillary services that you can offer to the doctor is our auto card system that lets
Yep.
them stay in contact with their patients. On the other hand, you as a business owner can use that to stay in contact with the doctors as well. So it
Yep.
just works out. I lost that slide. I was looking at the slide here that was going to talk about that. But anyway, I think what I'll do is jump right into this slide, because I don't know if you've seen this lately or not, but this is when you actually came down here, what, a couple of years ago. It's coming up to 2 years now, isn't it, in April?
20 months. Yep, April.
Yeah. And she came down here and went through our training, and look at that. There she is, a couple of years ago, graduating.
That seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah. And here's the certificate she's holding, by the way. For those of you who don't realize it, we have an organization called MERMA, the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. And that organization basically is the one that certifies you. Folks, if you do your research out there on the internet, you'll find there's all kinds of courses you could take on medical billing, coding, all kinds of stuff that you could spend a lot of time and money doing. But really, all you need is our training to get you started. Meg, why don't you share with the folks about your background? What were you doing before you got into this business?
I was not doing anything related to medical billing. So I was actually a little worried when we got our first client, because marketing and business development, my business partner Don is fantastic at the business development and the interaction with potential clients. He is stellar. Like, I don't even think I can't say enough good things about him. I know how to run operations. I have an operations and a logistics background. But when our first client said, yes, here you go, here's your check, and let's get going, Patrick, I literally was like, I froze. I was like, what am I supposed to do now? And then the next call is, well, ABS said that they're going to teach you and they're going to be with you along the way. So we called you guys and said, look, we got our first client. What are we supposed to do now? And ABS support was great, walking us through how to set everything up, how to actually do the work, because that's something that I didn't know. Like, being Canadian, even your health system, I'm not familiar with, because at home I just swipe my insurance card and everything's taken care of. Like, no copay, no deductible, no co-insurance, nothing. So I didn't grow up in this environment. ABS support, I had some sessions. They taught me, like, this is how you do it. You post this way, like, step by step. They explained to me how to take care of everything that I came across, which was great. I can't say enough good things that got me through my first client onboarding to be able to feel comfortable going into my next one and my next one and my next one without any worry. I'll say that we took on a physical therapy practice about 1.5 years ago. And I was a little bit nervous because we hadn't done anything with PT too much. And they're like, well, we're a different kind of practice, we're unique and all that kind of stuff. So I tried to do my research on, should I take a course on physical therapy, billing, and anything that I ever saw was a duplicate of what ABS had taught me how to do. So from that experience, I do that for every single office that we onboard, and I haven't come across anything yet in the billing space that ABS hasn't taken the time to show me how to do.
Yeah, well, Meg, you realize that we moved to virtual training, towards the end of 2019, actually. We moved to virtual online training. We do that with one-on-one using this kind of technology. It's live training, but it's just you and the instructor. And the instructor is somebody who's been through our training. They've built their business and they've said, yes, I'd be glad to do that for you. So, we provide them the slides and so forth, and they will teach other licensees. So we think it's good that people are learning from people who've been there, done that, and have the t-shirt.
Correct. It's invaluable. I think I'm at the point now where we have offices who ask me what they should be doing, which I'm absolutely fine. I haven't been stumped yet. The questions that I do have, I will often call up other licensees and get an answer from another licensee. I've always been able to figure out whatever questions I come up against by picking up the phone either through ABS support or reaching out to my peer network. It is nice knowing that I have 600 other licensees in the country, that if I don't know the answer, I'm going to pick up the phone and call somebody else to say, hey, do you know the answer to this? And if they don't know, because they may have not had that practice arena to work into, they're going to say, I don't know, but talk to this person because I know they will be able to help you. Everybody has been fantastic in providing support to be able to help you with whatever it is that you're coming across.
Yeah, I tell people, look, we're the largest network of independent medical billing company owners in the whole United States. As you mentioned, we've got about 600 people that are out there from coast to coast active. And that makes it really comfortable for people to introduce themselves to someone in their community by saying, look, I'm brand new at this. I'm letting you know, I've just opened a local office, but we're part of a nationwide network, the nation's largest network of independent medical billers. And so I've got this huge team of people, behind me that if I don't know the answer, somebody does.
Correct. And I will say, even when you're talking to a new office, I've had the experience when they say, hey, like, what do you know about this? And I'll say, you know what, I have not onboarded your specialty, but my peer group, and I'm referencing my peers, I don't say they're independent agents. I say my peer group because that's who they are, services multiple offices like this. So I have a wealth of resources behind me that if I come up against anything, I can go to them and ask the questions. And that has always satisfied that question.
Yeah, that's really the answer, because I've told people if you're stuck on a question, you could literally pick up the phone and call our support department and get through to ask that question to them if you wanted to,
Yeah.
or step outside or whatever. But no, you'll never be stuck. There's no question that they can come up with that we'll be able to answer. And I imagine you feel at this point, even Meg, after a couple of years, that there's no question somebody could ask you now that you couldn't answer, probably, right?
Yeah. I think from a doctor's office, from a provider's office, when I'm in there, there's very few questions that I get asked that I don't have an answer for. And even from a software side, there's very few things that I don't understand how to do. Like just even the billing of it's relatively um, user friendly, I'll say. And
Yeah.
if you have a question, you can get an answer within 5-10 minutes, so that you keep on going through your day.
Yeah, and then some of the folks on here, of course, don't realize that we have a whole series of what we call technology partners. These are people who help us provide some of the services that you can provide out there to the. In fact, here's a picture of that again. Some of those services, all of
Yeah.
those are technology companies that we've partnered with. So all of them have
Correct.
support people as well.
And they're great, Patrick. I would say that we've worked with quite a few of them. And when you set up a meeting to talk to a doctor's office and say I choose like compliancy guard, and they, an office is saying, okay, I have some HIPAA problems. I call up Liam and I say, hey, this is what's going on. And that's all I have to do. Liam's like, good, you're part of ABS, and let me take care of it, and they'll run with it. So I don't have to learn everything about compliancy. But what I do have is through ABS, it's a good network of specialists that I can just be the connector with. And I'm in very good hands with Liam at Compliancy Guard, and I know that they're going to be well taken care of. And we've had sales because of that.
Right. Well, look, Meg, as we move along here, I want to answer some questions that are coming in for you specifically. But first, I want to just say hi to Stu. He just typed in hi earlier, and I see a few people that have joined that haven't typed something in. So anybody who wants to use that question box for just comments or dialogue to me, I'm always looking at it. Kurt just asked if that was a recognized certificate. He's talking about that certificate that we give. So Kurt, let me tell you something that most people probably wouldn't tell you. You ready for this? There is no certification in the United States to do medical billing. There is nobody who is authorized by the US government, for example. This is not like a doctor's license. We call it a license because that's what it is. It's a license to use our system and our marketing systems. But as far as something that would just completely, he used the term recognized. Well, it's recognized by us and our 600 people from coast to coast, as well as all of the board members. If you'll go to the MIRMA.org website, let's see if I can put that back up here. It'll make a little bit more sense here if I show this. If you go to where this certificate is and it's on the certificate itself. Let me get that back up here and you can see that. There it is. You'll see down the bottom left-hand corner, MRMAA, and that's not .com, it's .org. So go there and take a look at some of the, we have a national advisory board, for example, and you'll see we've got some of the leading people in the medical field as part of our advisory board, including a doctor, by the way. So why is that this is any different from anything else out there that you could pay for? You know, you can get a CPC and all kinds of different letters after your name if you've got enough money. But once you pay that money, you still just have a piece of paper. That's all you really have. And the doctors really don't care about that as much as they care about you and can you do what you say you're going to do for them. That's all that really counts.
I think I've been asked about that once, Patrick, because I have my signature, and I've told them, and like I've explained to them that, and like shown them the website, and they've been like, oh, well, that's great, and then they just move on.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but that's why we have the website that they can go look at to go, oh, okay, so it is an organization that has some people that have some letters after their names, and so they must know what they're doing. Not necessarily, but no other certification that's out there is any different from ours, Kurt. Dimitri says, hello, Patrick and Meg. May I ask you 2 essential questions for Meg? Number 1, where do you usually get new customers? Where do you get new customers?
Well, my business partner, Dawn, is responsible for business development. When we decided that we were going to go down this road with ABS, we decided that we were going to follow what ABS said by the book.
Yeah.
We had ideas of how to do sales because we've both been very successful in business previously. And I remember sitting on the airplane talking to Dawn about this and saying, look, you know what? ABS says that they have a tried and true process. We're going to go by the book and do what they say to do. So we're going to pick 2 strategies and work in that space. So we literally decided to go door to door. So Dawn went to, and I'm not exaggerating, he would go to 10 offices a day, 5 days a week, drop off the little whatever it is that he would leave, come back the next week, visit. And there was a lot of work behind it, but the door to door walking in is what netted us our first client. We did some business development. Oh, there he is. We did business development, a couple BNI meetings, and we did a lot of center of influences. And those were 3 areas that ABS said, this is, if you do this, you will get a client. So those were the 3 that we chose to work on. And we got our first client, I want to say under 4 months. Don would know exactly what the per the day is because he was out there like grinding it out. But yeah, we just knocked on doors and got referred in and just kept on working at it. I will say now, now we're at the point where we put in a lot of legwork to get where we are. During COVID, we recently did have one phone call from an office saying, we were referred to you by so-and-so, we need help, can you come in and help us? So you never really say that wasn't a fruitful conversation because you never know what that's going to lead to. And that's our most recent office that we're onboarding, and we're about 6 weeks in with them.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I get that from a lot of people that I interview that, hey, we did what you said to do to get the first client. And then from there, we just started getting referrals and it kind of grew from there. Of course, it depends on who your first client is and whether they know a lot about the doctors or not. But yeah, it can grow from referral. And
we had, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, some licensees have told me, Patrick, I got to the point where I didn't know what to do when the referrals would call up. I didn't want to do any more business. I didn't want to add any more clients. I didn't want to hire anybody. I wanted to keep it small. And so we just work with those people, and we've got other licensees, of course, who can help out with that billing and split the profits from it. Yeah.
That's a great thing about this. And we did, I will remember, because your book, that was a very helpful book. We do have a client now today because John did drop off one of your books, And that got the doctor's attention enough to email me the next day after John was there. And about 6 months after that, they came on board because we did our follow up with them, and they're a client now. So we really utilized what you've given us as tools to grow our business.
You're talking about the book we mentioned earlier?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. And have
Yep,
y'all co-branded that with your name down here?
we did. Yep.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a second, folks. First, let me get to the other question that Dimitri had. How much time you spent from the starting your business with ABS and getting lost money? I think what they're trying to say is, when did you actually feel like you started getting a return on your investment? You know,
So
that's a
when
hard one to know because you got to figure up all the money you spent and
it was within our first year that we recouped our investment and were cash flow positive.
well,
So
that's better than, the average business goes for 2 years before they show a profit. So that's
yeah,
pretty
I
good.
want to say that it was because of we 3, 4. Yeah, I want to say within like 8 months that we had received back what we had put in to like for our initial investment in our time in flying down and going down to Texas, which I know you guys don't have to do anymore, but we did it and we loved it while we were doing it at that time.
Meg, did you have to spend a lot of money besides our license fee and your travel? Was there any equipment that you had to buy or other fees or licenses?
No, that's the great thing about it is that I think I bought a new computer because I needed one anyways, and that was it. There's like I was expecting to have to do something like some other kind of investment, and even the marketing strategies that were outlined, there are minimal out-of-pocket costs, like literally minimal. You know, get some business cards, pick a couple strategies and go see some offices. That wasn't an expensive piece. This was the majority of it is just your energy and going to do this deal.
Yeah. Yeah, we found that's true with most people that even though it took you 4 months, we've got licensees who go out and get their client within 30 days. Some of them take 6 months or 9 months. But it really doesn't matter if you think of it this way. Even if you were working a full-time job and this was done part-time, which we've got many licensees that have built this, outside their regular business time, you still always will get a return if you get just one client, because I don't know if that was true with you, but one doctor will make you back, most of them, if they, assuming they have a decent number of patients, in
Yeah.
the first year. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. If you have a standard doctor, you should net back like minimally within 12 months what you invested in to get your license.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, anything past month 13 is profit.
Right. Kurt wants to know if we limit the amount of ABS users in an area so you don't saturate a state. Uh, well, Meg, let me ask you this question. Have you run into any other ABS licensees up there in your area?
We have not.
Yeah, and you know what? Every time I ask that question of a licensee, even if they've been in this business for 10 years, they'll say, you know what? I've never run across another ABS licensee. They're out there, I'm sure,
Yeah.
but it's just too big a market.
I was about to say, the market is massive. There are thousands of doctors out there. And on top of that, everybody has a different style. So part of this is personality wise. So the doctor who's going to say yes to a meeting with Dawn and myself is going to be different than the doctor who's going to say yes to the next person who comes in. And that's not to say that one person is better than the other. It's just going to say that there's different personality types that's going to attract different doctors. Because the doctor that does not say yes to Dawn or I, and who says yes, but like maybe it wasn't the best way, that's not going to be a good fit. So you also do have control over who you want to work with as well as far as style wise goes. So there's plenty of market share out there.
Meg, let me ask you, have you ever, I mean, I don't know that you guys are not utilizing our demos that we do for your prospective clients. Have we done some demos for you?
Yes, especially at the beginning, we use you guys a fair bit.
Yeah, so folks, what we're talking about there is sometimes the doctors want to see the technology that you'll be using to do their billing, and we can give them a live demo. Our staff, I have demo people that's all they do all day long, is give the demos for the doctors. And of course, you as the licensee can be on there as well from your computer at your home, and they're in their office, and we're all watching at the same time. So you get to hear all of the things that we would say about our system, which helps you to learn about it more, and then you also get to hear all the answers to their questions. We answer all their questions for them. So
And you learn a tremendous amount on those demos. Like at the beginning, it was very helpful for me to listen to them because I still remember the like knot in my stomach when we first did our first couple demos, and I was like, I have no idea what the answer to that is. I don't even know what those doctors are talking about. But listening to them and have somebody else answer the questions gave me an education on the whole space entirely, and it did make you look smarter than you may have been at that time.
yeah, you look bigger because first of all, it's somebody that you're having from your staff. You can refer to us as your staff. We're an extension of your staff. We're doing the demo for you and answering all the questions, but then of course you can be on there as well to hear the reactions of the doctor. Sometimes all the doctor says at the end is, man, this sounds great. Yeah, yeah, send me the paperwork.
Correct.
All right, Dama, I think I'm saying that right, Dama. I'm sorry, it says I missed some of this due to working. I'm currently in the process of opening my own billing company. I've been a certified coder for 17 years and have even managed a practice. So ABS is basically a support system, question mark. Do you help with how to get clients? Well, Meg, you can share with what you learned. In that 1 week's time, didn't we cover about a dozen different ways to help you get clients?
You did. And so there was a plethora of options that you could work from, and you guys gave a full chapter on how to do each of those strategies, and we just chose 3 or 4 to do. And those were the 3 or 4 that we just kept on and we persistently followed up with.
Yep.
So there was a lot to choose from and a lot of support with whatever you were doing. And they told you what not to do. To be clear, if ABS says that's a bad idea, then let's not go down that road because they've had the experience with other individuals who did go down that road and it didn't work. So they have the experience to say, yes, this is a good idea, or no, this is a bad idea. So you're not wasting your time or wasting your money on ideas that haven't had a proven track record of success.
Hey, that's a good point. I'm glad you bring that out. I love to hear licensees actually say what I've told them, and that is, don't try things on your own, even though you think you know more than we do. We've been doing this for 27 years. We kind of know what works and what doesn't work. So, yeah. So the answer, Dama, is yes. In fact, what we just talked about, those live demos, what other company will actually do the demo and answer all the questions of your prospects for you? That's something we do for our licensees, and there's no cost for that, is there, Meg? I mean, we do those as many as you want. Yeah.
Correct. I've never received an invoice from you guys.
And again, that's because, folks, the way we modeled our company was we built it on the fact that we make a few pennies on all the transactions that go through our system. So that's why we want to help you get as many clients as possible, because we make money on the back end as well.
Right.
It's the American way, isn't it, Meg?
Yeah, it's not the Canadian way.
Let's see. Nancy's on here. She says hi. Kurt says, do you outsource the billing? I think he's asking you that, Meg. You do all the billing yourself?
Yes, we do our billing ourselves. That was, I mean, that was the joy of it. So if we go find the client and we actually do the billing, then we're making all the money. Like that's how, the best way about it.
Yeah.
The system is set up very nicely so that I think you should be able to handle 3 to 4 offices by yourself before you have to hire staff. And if you set up your systems properly, you can maybe even do more. So that it is a nice feeling every 2 weeks when I run our revenue reports to send out to our offices that income that's been generated. Now we have had to hire 3 staff to support our team. But I worked it as long as I could without having to write a check to somebody else to do our work, so that we had what was coming in is what's staying in, because that's how you start it. Now that we have staff, I have begun to be a little bit more relaxed, and I feel much more comfortable for the next 3 that Dawn is going to go get in the next 3 months, knowing that the staff that I'm building out, that's when you can start to make the real money coming in, when you have the next 10 clients come in and you can staff that out with, 2 other people. There's some nice profit margins in there for you as a business owner.
Yes, you're right. I've had licensees say that if they wanted to, they could do all their billing, but they'd be putting in 40 hours a week, and they don't want to work that much. So
40 hours a week, right? So I think I was able to manage up to 8 offices by myself, and I put in a little more than 40 hours a week, but I did appreciate the revenue stream that came in with handling that many offices by myself without having to outsource to somebody else.
yeah, so Kurt, when you use that term outsource, uh, we have licensees who do have clients that, like I said, when they come in, they don't want to handle them themselves. They don't want to hire new people maybe, and so they'll ask us to help out. So we do have licensees that we can
Yeah.
partner you with, and with the right paperwork in place, they can do the billing, but you make money on that account every month as well. So it can be outsourced to somebody completely, or you can just manage them like Meg's doing. She's just got people who work for her, and she probably just tells them how to do it and lets them do it.
Yeah, it was nice because Patrick, we did grow a little quicker than my staff was ready for through COVID. And so there was another licensee that I had a conversation with to say, look, this is what's going on. I just need help with like 5 hours a week, 6 hours a week. And we came to good terms that her team, who had some extra hours available, was able to jump in and work with us. So that gave me a lot of comfort knowing that as quickly as Dawn can go get me more offices to onboard, I'm able to have resources available. That it does take time to work with staff from scratch to be up to speed. So it was nice to be able to have that lever to pull to say, you know what, I can just get that help right away while I'm bringing in my own team, which has been a godsend and a blessing, which is nice to have that network of support behind you.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great. You're building it right. You're doing it slow but steady, and just adding people as you can afford them and want to give up that income. Because again, you don't have to pay them near what you're going to be making off of that doctor, but you still make them probably pay them a decent hourly wage or however you pay them.
Yeah, I would say that Dawn and we discussed this, and we wanted to make sure that when we hired staff, we're not at the bottom of the pay scale by any stretch of the imagination, because we do have a branding that we want to have in the marketplace for excellence, and we didn't think that we would get excellence if we started at the bottom of the pay scale. So we did post our ad and pay on the top end of the pay scale, and it's shown through with our work. I feel very comfortable with my staff members reaching out and talking to their offices, and our offices like our staff. So it's on the higher end of this space, but it's definitely a cost that is relative to what we're bringing in. It's a good handshake all around.
Yeah. Now, Meg, we talked yesterday about the fact that during this last year of the COVID, your business actually grew.
Yes. So that first month that COVID hit, as I'd mentioned, we onboarded a practice, and that's when I got really comfortable with Zoom because I was used to walking in and bringing donuts and everybody loving me and doing the training at that time. So we brought them in, we did training. It was a rather large practice, 2 locations, and they were a lot to like a lot of details that had to happen. And through Zoom, through good communication, through donuts being sent delivery, we were able to get through it, and that made me feel really comfortable. We probably about 3 months in, then got another phone call from an office that we had talked to about 12 months ago, and they said, look, we need help. So we got masked up and walked into the doctor's office. We had two meetings face to face with them, and they became a client, and we did a lot of virtual calls. Now it's to the point where office managers, like, I'll be out running or out for a jog, and the office manager will FaceTime me, and I'm like, I'm going to answer, but just know that I'm like out like jogging. And she's like, no problem, I just have a question. But they like that face to face, and they
Sure.
feel so comfortable just saying, hey, face to face, little FaceTime, here's your question. I'm like, yep, I got it. I can help you walk through it, and then we just hang up and keep on going. So we have brought on board 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 providers during COVID, which has
Super.
kept us busy, and I'm expecting probably like another 2 or 3 in the next 2 or 3 months, just from what we're doing and what Don's Outreach has been working on.
That's fantastic. I do hear that from other licensees as well. Our business increased last year. Our doctor partner, Dr. Vicki Ragner, that I wrote that book with, she says her business almost doubled. So it's like, okay, we must be in the right business. We must be in the right industry, you know?
Well, you're in the right business or the right industry, but you also have the right resources, right? Because for doctors, I think that the medical profession is finding finding out some things during this time, and there are things that maybe traditionally have worked in their office space that don't work anymore. And so there's a lot of technology that has to be brought into the medical field. There's a lot of communications that, just as I was trying to communicate with offices without going in to see them, doctors are trying to do the same thing. So they're looking for resources to say, how do I work with telemedicine? How can I do HIPAA compliant text messages? How can I communicate with you in a better way? And those are all resources that we have available to us. So when a doctor's office is looking for those things and you walk in and say, hey, I just want to tell you that I'm here and this is what we do, we've had a large traction in that space of them saying, you know what, I would like to hear a little bit more about you, because what used to work doesn't work anymore. Even as far as paper in the office. If you go to a restaurant now, you see the menu is on the table. Like, use your phone and scan it, and you can see electronically, this is your menu, right? You
Yeah.
go into a doctor's office, they don't want to be giving you paperwork anymore. If you can now just hand somebody a tablet, or if you can eliminate the paperwork that the doctor has to hand over from person to person to person, that can eliminate a lot of the risk of infection spreading. And what we have has enabled offices to be completely paper free. And they're looking for that. So that is another space that when you start talking to people, you can say, look, we do this for you. We're eliminating all those extra steps and all that extra level of exposure that your office has when it's like this. So people are definitely looking for things that we have solutions to.
Yeah, I tell people it's really a matter of when you think of this business, it's different. You know, you said you all had some background in sales. I actually have to fight with people who have a background in sales usually and tell them to forget about 90% of what they know about sales, because when you're dealing with doctors and office managers, it's a whole other ball game, isn't it?
It can't be sales. They don't want sales.
Yeah.
What Don does so well, like, I'm sure as you remember the last time you talked to him, he just puts everybody at ease. He walks into the office, and I think that one of the feathers in his cap may be the OBGYN office that we have, because
Oh yeah.
a guy walked into the OBGYN office and he was like, it was very clear that there's no other reason that I'm here for except for there's some product or sale that I want to make to your doctors.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's very clear. And they're a client of ours. And he has the ability to just ask the questions. Just walk in, find out what they do right now, or just tell them that you're here to support them, or however it is that you want to approach them. But it's not sales. They don't want to hear you say, I've got the best thing out there. They want to know that you're listening to hear what their issue is so you can fix it for them.
That's great advice, Meg. People who have not owned their own business don't realize that, yes, every business service has to be sold to somebody or you won't have a client. But
Correct.
with our tools, like this book, for example, you notice on this one, I don't know if you can see those little tabs are not there, but I put the little tabs on there because we teach people to highlight certain passages inside the book. See, so they highlight them in yellow, and then those tabs call attention to them. So when you send this to a doctor, even in the mail, or put it in an envelope and just hand it to the office manager, would you put this on the doctor's desk? They get this and they go, what is this? And they start looking at those tabs. Well, those are the key points that we want them to read. And sometimes that sucks them in and they read the whole book.
Yeah. And there is a large amount of doctors out there who, although they're they went to medical school, they want to learn more about how to run their business well. And your book breaks it down into like such basic layman's terms that that's been a good help. We've had quite a few doctors say thank you for that. That was a good read.
Yeah, and you know what? I got a question here from Kurt. He says, I want your book. So Kurt, just for you and everybody else on here, if you go to the handout section of the control panel there for GoToWebinar, look for the handout section. When you open that up, you'll see I have the book in there. Yeah, I put you a PDF of the entire book in there. Now, this book is available, by the way, on Amazon only because we want the doctors to know that it's a real book by a real doctor and that it costs real money. It's on there for $24.95 as a paperback book. That's expensive, but doctors will pay if they think there's some value to it. And this one is really, it zeroes right in on their needs for cash flow. Okay, Meg, we're getting to the end here, so I got to get to some of these questions. Man, you've got a big following here. Yeah. For example, Kurt, let me go back to Dama says, do you use certain software or do you just learn their software? Have you got any doctors that you're just using their billing system that they were using?
We do both.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, your business is doing their medical billing. So if they are set up in a system that they really like, I'm not going to try to disrupt their cart. But if they have a system that is not working well, then we have other solutions for them.
That's a good way to put it. I would do the same thing. I just tell them, we can work with your system. However, to get the results that we can promise you, our system has a built-in clearinghouse and the rejection rate is less than 2%.
So I will say that we don't have any clients anymore who are on their old billing systems. And we've had our very first doctor actually came on board because he loved what our billing system could do for him. He had no problem with his billers, to be clear. His wife actually uses the billers that he had before. So you know that there was, like, he had to see something that was so beneficial to his practice that he said yes. And what our software did for him was give him time. He was able to use our software, and he was to be able to, especially for podiatry, for him to be able to come in and use our system, which gave him back hours of his week. And it wasn't just hours of his week for him, it was hours of his week that he was doing his billing at like 11 o'clock at night from 8 to 11. And he's like a football coach for his son. He has his wife and his 2 kids. He had all these other things that he wanted to be able to do, but his billing just wasn't getting done, and it was cutting into the time that he wanted to be spending with his family. When he saw what the software could do for him, that was a no-brainer to him. He's like, yeah, let's go ahead and move this over. And now he's gotten down to his billing has been, it takes him 1/3 of the amount of time for him to spend on the administrative part of his practice.
Oh, wow. That's a great testimonial. So basically in their office, they have access to the reports in iClaim. And does he use EMRX for his electronic medical records?
He does. So it's a seamless transition. It's a seamless process for him.
Yeah. Yeah, because folks, when the doctor's actually using the EMRX, usually it's not on a computer like it illustrates here. It's on an iPad because it fits perfectly. And anyway, they can talk to the patient, push a few buttons, and that information goes into the iClaim system behind the scenes. That's, again, all one system, but we just call it 2 different names. Electronic medical records is for the doctor, and then you and your staff are using the iClaim system to go in and actually do the billing on the other side.
And I've spent a lot of time with all of our offices making sure that they're set up properly from the beginning. So we have very few denials and very few rejections. What we found is through COVID, things have been a little bit more complicated, but because of the tools and the systems that are in the software, I'm not going to submit a claim until it's clean. And because it's its own clearinghouse, I have confidence that when I submit that claim, it's going to the payer correctly. And the only thing that that payer should ever be sending back to me is that they need medical records. Everything else should be coming back paid or patient responsibility. I very rarely have things that I have to go back and say, oh, I didn't have that information on it for you, because the system is so clean on the front end and there's so many different scrubbing mechanisms so that your billing is a much cleaner process than with other systems that are in place out there.
Oh yeah, we found that to be true. And like you said, most doctors who start out letting you use their system, once you
Mhm.
start talking to them about all the advantages of ours, and especially
Yeah,
if they see the demo, they will
yeah,
switch over to it. And once they're in it, they love it. Now,
yeah.
Kurt wants to know, are specialists the most profitable to go after, say, a podiatrist? You mentioned podiatrist. I guess you have a podiatrist.
Podiatrists are great. I really like working with them, and I don't know why, but podiatrists just seem to be like nice people. Um, they're just a special field. I would say specialists are who you want to be working with. One of the main things that I do find helpful when you work with a specialist is that they're going to use limited CPT codes. Like, so their billing is going to stay in one category versus like an internal medicine. They're going to have a full plethora of billing. It's going to take a little more time to make sure that you have everything coded properly. But a specialty, like a specialty practice, most often they're going to have surgeries, which are going to be profitable. And often they're going to have procedures that are a little bit more expensive, which is going to be profitable. So I would say yes, specialties are who you would like to get into. And ABS does have a list of the areas that you want to focus on. And that was something that we did. I think on the airplane home, Dawn and I went through that list of areas of who we want to focus on. And we like highlighted 5 or 6 specialty areas that we started going after, and we kind of left the bottom ones alone because we figured that if we're going to spend our time working with somebody, let's go after the higher value ones, higher dollar value ones.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's part of our training now. I don't know if we did that at the time you went through it with Don, but we actually break that down to here's the dozen or so really profitable ones that you could start with.
Yeah,
Not that you don't make money from all doctors doing their billing, because you're making a percentage, aren't you, of what you collect for
correct.
them? Can you give everybody on here a feel for that, Meg? What kind of percentage do you think is normal or typical, or that's easy to quote to a doctor and they'll go with it?
It depends on your volume, but I think you're going to range anywhere from we don't have any fours, but it depends on how big the practice is. But I would say average is like 6 or 7%. I've seen
Yeah.
up to 8. I think we're close to 8 on a practice. Um, and if that's just doing regular billing. Now, if you're going to add other services, I would say that definitely you're going to add a higher percentage if you're going to do AR cleanup, anything like that. But I think you're probably good to stay within 6 and 7% in the marketplace, and you'll be competitive against what they're doing. The other advantage is if they have somebody that's really inexpensive, like they come back and they say, well, I'm paying 4.5%. There is a conversation to be had. You're getting what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
And our software, if you're paying 4.5% on with a software or a biller that only actually gets you paid for 50 or 60% of the claims you submit versus you pay 7% on a billing software and a biller that gets you paid on 97% of what you submit, the math does work that you may end up paying a little bit more, but you're getting more in the long run.
That's a good point. Yes. Would you rather have, or pay 3% of 50,000, or would you rather pay 7% of 100,000? It's just
Yep.
easy math once you start doing that. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so I think we answered Kurt's question. Dana was asking if you take a percentage. I work for a billing company now, and we take a percentage of the collections. Yes. So think of it this way. The motivation for Meg and Don is that the more they bring in for that doctor, the more money they get to keep each month too.
Mhm. Correct.
Yeah. Oh, lots of little bitty things here. Let me just go through these real quickly. Meg, do you use the internet marketing systems like Google Ads to get new clients, or do you do cold calls and visit the medical offices, or both?
We have not touched the internet yet, and Dawn and I just started talking about this last week, actually, to see how we want to pursue going down that road because we believe that there is an opportunity there. We did grow our business grassroots, door to door, knocked on the door, talked to the offices. So I can't really speak to the success of the internet, but I know that it's something that we're starting to talk to. We're going to start talking about in the next month or two.
Good. Yeah, there's there's a lot of licensees that's all they've ever done is
Yeah.
built up their traffic to their website, and that's where they get all their business. But you kind of have to know what you're doing. That's
Right. Yeah.
there's an art to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for us, we'd have to hire somebody to do that. So that's why we've kind of waited until we're at this space.
Yep. Tanya says, do the doctors work with hospitals or are they private? Most of yours are private practice, probably.
Private practice, but most of your specialists are going to be in the hospital. So, for example, a podiatrist is going to do surgery. So they'll be in a facility.
Right. So you
Mhm.
can do billing for doctors who do surgeries or anything that's in the hospital, of course. And of course, there are hospitalists. That's what they're called, hospitalists. Doctors who just visit the hospital, visit the patients, and then bill the insurance companies and Medicare for their visits there in the hospital. Yeah. I've got some licensees that have some really big. One guy had 100,000 a month that this hospitalist was billing.
I
Uh,
mean, you're in the hospital. That's where you get some nice money.
yeah, because a hospitalist can see 40, 50 patients in a day and bill for
Mhm.
all those.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Stu says, how much competition is there out there, Meg? Aren't the doctors already using someone doing the billing for them?
Sure.
There's,
I mean, any doctor that's in business has somebody doing their billing for them. One of the things that we really found to be an issue is that when you do overseas, you have a lot of doctors who maybe when they started with their own practice, because maybe they spent a couple of years with somebody else and they stepped out on their own, and they saw this ad for 3% billing and we'll do all of this, and it's for a company that just outsources it overseas. And we've heard story after story about how like they've had nightmares about that. And we always get traction when we say, you know what, we're in the United States, we don't outsource to overseas. And then B, right now the majority of our clients are local, and when we say, you know what, we're in wherever Virginia, they love that. So it's not, everybody has somebody and somebody is going to be replaced, which is good to remember as a business owner, that you need to have the quality and the exceptionalism to continue. But there are so many doctors that are on subpar systems and their AR is so backed up. There's a lot of opportunity out there.
now, Meg, we're right at the top of the hour, so I'm going to ask you just a couple more questions, then I'll let you go. And then, folks, I'm going to stay on here as long as it takes. I'll try to answer some questions that were not aimed directly at Meg, of course, but some of them are. So, Meg, let me ask you this. Rashman wants to know, what is the client turnover like getting and losing clients? Do you have any turnover?
We fired one office,
You fired one?
but that was it. And I give a lot of credit to Don when he's out there making first impressions with offices, because we don't want to work with everybody with a pulse. We want to have a good relationship with the offices that we work with. And I think that goes a long ways into keeping that business relationship opened and making sure that you're partnered with the right person. If you're going to provide terrible service, then you're probably going to have a higher turnover, but the software that we have is excellent. I would have a hard time believing that an office would ever want to leave the software that they've integrated with us, because I personally believe that it's the best software out there. Like hands down, I've seen a lot of different softwares and I've explored other softwares, but when I see it in person, in the field, in doctors' offices, compared to what I've seen other offices use, it by far surpasses what else is available to them. So you have a stellar, like top of the line Cadillac, Mercedes, Bentley software that you're bringing them. You really, once you get them, you just need to take care of them and you should be absolutely fine.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's the way we feel about it. That we've got the best that's out there, and that's why our licensees can do such a good job for the doctors. Meg, thank you so much. I know this was a chunk of time out of your day. We were on here a little bit before the webinar, and then we talked the other day to get ready for it. And so you just don't know how much I appreciate you sharing this with other people. I'm sure it's been very valuable to people who are still looking into, getting into our business. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Because if you're interested in getting into our business, we want you in the business. There's only about 6 steps here that you need to take. One, ask for our downloadable research guide. Here's what it looks like, by the way. And that's because it's got about 50 pages of information that you wouldn't get on our website. So ask your ABS rep. You can find their number and email address right here on the screen. And you can call that number right now if you want to and ask, hey, who is my rep? I don't know who it is. We'll get you the right information. There's what the guide looks like, and we'll send that to you, of course, by PDF. Then number 2, browse our YouTube channel. Here's what it looks like. We've got over 100 videos on there, and many of them are interviews just like I did today with Meg. So you might want to browse that. It's youtube.com, and then just put a /YABS. Number 3, ask your ABS rep for an owner reference list. That's right. We've got other licensees all over the country that we've done interviews with and that have agreed to take some phone calls. If you want to talk to people who are really in this business doing it on a day-to-day basis, we've got numbers that you can call. Just get back with your ABS rep and ask for that. Now, you can also ask for a live demo. Remember, we told you we do the demos for your doctors. We'll do that for you too. We'll sit right in front of a computer, just like you see this young man up here in the left-hand corner. Your doctor can be on a demo, or if you just want to see one yourself, we can set it up for you, or you can watch the ones that we do for your doctors. Yeah, that's all a part of it. Just ask your ABS rep. Next to last is review the purchase agreement and the funding instructions. It's a little simple 4 pages of information about our agreement and how we can help you get the funding into us. And then the last step is send in your agreement and funding and schedule your training. Folks, all the training, as I said, is done by our instructors who are running their own medical billing businesses themselves, and that we pay to actually do the training. One lady that that's doing a lot of our training right now has been with us about 5 years. So you'll be hearing from somebody that's been there and done that and has the t-shirt. Well, there's the 6 steps. I do want to mention that we have a money-back guarantee for those of you who go through the training and decide this is not something you want to do. We'll give you all your money back. Hey, Rashman says, can I have the ABS system with other competitors' companies too at the same time? Yes, of course. Rashman, you can have as many different software systems as you want to do the billing if that's what you want to do. Jason says, what does the franchise fee cover? The best way to answer that, Jason, would be to say, get that downloadable guide. That'll give you a better feel. Just ask your ABS rep for the downloadable research guide. And you'll see. We also have a section on our website, I think, that says, what is the investment? And under that, there's a link there as to what do you get for your franchise fee. And we'll go that. Oh, Dama says something. Yes, it popped up, but it went away. Let me see if anybody else can see that. Can anybody else see that little link that I put in there for next week's webinar? That might be one you want to join. By the way, you can sign up for it right now, even if you don't know that you can make it. We always send out a link to the the recording. We record all these, just like this one will be put up on our website, on our blog here within the next 24 hours. So folks, thanks again for being on here. I'll let you go for now. If you've got any further questions, be sure and just email us, let us know, or call us and ask us everything you want. We want to get you all the information we can so you can make the right decision for you and your family. Again, my name is Patrick Phillips. I'm the founder of American Business Systems, and I thank you for your time today. Bye for now.